Welcome to the Sonya Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time.
Great day, everyone. It is time for the Sonya Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time. Listen, we have a great show prepared for you today. But first, let me give you the title. It's called Expectations. And listen, I want you to return back here right after this commercial, and we'll be right back.
Let's talk frequencies for each zodiac sign. For Aries, you'll want 285 hertz. It's perfect for finding mental peace, helping your body heal, and letting go of anger. Taurus vibes best with 174 hertz. It brings grounded energy, comfort, and that feeling of security you crave. Gemini, tune into 639 hertz. This helps with clear communication and makes it easier to forgive. Cancer needs 1,185 hertz. It supports love, creativity, sensitivity, and your nurturing side. For Leo, go with 432 hertz. It clears emotional blocks and boosts your creativity and flexibility. Virgo, 741 hertz is your friend. It calms your mind and helps release tension from your body. Libra, you should try 528 hertz. It's the love frequency that brings balance and eases anxiety. Scorpio, 417 hertz works wonders. It clears out negative energy and helps move past emotional blocks. Sagittarius, reach for 1,111 hertz. It's great for lifting your mood and easing pain with endorphins. Capricorn, 396 hertz is key. It helps release guilt and fear while giving you energy to achieve your goals. Aquarius, 1,074 hertz, supports your higher consciousness and deepens your understanding of yourself and the universe. Finally, Pisces, 852 hertz is what you need. It awakens your intuition, regulates your internal clock, and helps with insomnia.
Welcome back to the Sonya Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time. Again, our title for today's show is Expectations. And we're going to talk about relationships. I want to give some viewpoints, some theories, some things to think about in a relationship. But there are so many people who are interested in finding their significant one. Their face sharpens one face. People call it iron sharpening iron. But I want to take some viewpoints that I have and I've been meditating on, and how to help not only you, but me to find a significant one. But these are some of the things that I've just been observing over the years and over the course of a couple of weeks to prepare for this show for today. And again, our title is Expectations. The other day, I made a post about expectation. It was called Activation. And the post stated, when dating or meeting new people, most often we show up with having expectations of the other person. But in reality, we should only have expectations of ourselves. Then the law of attractions began, right? Well, I made that post and I really thought about having the expectation and which activates the law of attractions, right? And what I meant about that is when you have expectations of yourself, what you're required to be the best you, it starts to activate. People call it the universe, the law of attractions and those things. And it starts to pull in those things that you're meditating on yourself. And you don't have to do all the work that you think that you need to do. I know a lot of people say we need to go on a couple of dates and we need to do this, we need to do that. No, one of the main things that I'm finding out, listening to a lot of different people talk about relationships and what they have experienced from previous relationships. And one of the main things that I noticed is no one stated how they are preparing to be the best person, the best you, you know. And I said, this is the significant part of relationships. When you're focusing so much on yourself and getting yourself prepared to be the best you, to offer yourself into the world, whatever it may be, being the best you will cause those relationships to be activated, and it'll draw the same type of heart and same type of mind, same type of zeal, and you start to attract the people who should be around you. I know we have so many different people. This is not talking about having a circle, having a network of friends, but this is talking about having a significant one. And I want to talk to you about some areas where this I know to be true, that whenever we meditating on something that we're desiring, someone may meditate on, I want to, have real estate. I want to own my own business, and you consume yourself and preparing yourself to have those things. But why aren't we consuming ourselves to be the best person when we're looking for relationships? We're so busy looking outward. I want my woman to look like this. I want my man to look like this. But when we turn everything inward, well, I have high expectations about what I need to do, how I need to prepare myself every morning. And so when you start preparing yourself, being the best you. Like you may be lethargic and washing your dishes before you go to bed. And this is something that may turn inward and say, you know what? I'm going to change that part of me and make sure that my kitchen is clean. Make sure that I am putting away the laundry. Make sure that I'm doing all these things, putting everything in order, making sure that I am prepared, making sure uh, that I read a chapter every day, making sure that I'm doing this, making sure that I'm taking care of my skin, making sure that I'm making sure that I am dressing properly when I go out, about in the public. These are some of the things that you start to consume. Like, you know what? I want to be the best part. I want to make sure that I am presentable. When you start making sure that you having all these things in order in your life, you begin to realize these are the expectations that I have of myself. Gives the indication of the universe will bring someone who is similar to that perspective in your life. Instead of we looking outward and saying, I'm expecting this person to do blah, 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 blah. And you did not do that for yourself. I have met so many people, as far as my friends, and they're looking for all these things in a mate. and I just look and say, well, are you doing that for yourself? You're looking for, it's not a better half. It's two whole people coming together making one. And a lot of people don't understand, I hear people say, I'm looking for my better half. There is no half. It's two whole people coming together. And your whole being over here as a male and your whole being a woman as a female, and you two coming together, making a significant togetherness, and you have a healthy relationship. I was listening to this podcast the other day, and there's a gentleman who has a podcast. He's very popular, and he was speaking to another lady. It was her podcast actually, and she was interviewing him. And he was speaking about that when he was married, he got divorced. When he was married, he cheated on his fiance before they got married, and the fiance forgave him, and they got married. And then while they were married, he cheated on his wife with the same lady he cheated on before he got married, which was signs was there for the wife. Okay. And I listened to him, and he spoke about that he had needs and he was looking for those needs. And I listened thoroughly, and I said, this is the same story that everyone talks about when men talk about when they cheated or they went outside the marriage, there was needs and that wasn't met. That's what made me want to do this podcast, because again, our title is called Expectations. And one of the things he said that he had needs. And I said, wow, the needs that he had was the need for himself to have expectations for himself. And he was looking outward, trying to get those needs fulfilled. And it is not really that deep. And I said the same story over and over and over again for the divorce rate. Okay. Is having expectations of your significant other to fulfill something that you should be fulfilling yourself, which means it gave me an indication that he was not a complete whole person when he got married in the first place. Now, this is no excuse. I'm not speaking terrible about what he was saying. It's that, we all have these flaws in our lives, but if they're not pointed out, maybe you should turn this way and turn that way and to clarify what it really is happening. When we start having actions outside of something, there's a root cause to resolve it. I hope I'm making sense here because I want to resolve this before I find a significant other to make sure that I am complete and a whole individual. And then I start to attract someone that is a whole, complete person as well. So there won't be any kind of conflicts when my significant other comes into my world. And this may help a lot of other people because there's so many people who wants to be in a relationship. And the question you have to have for yourself, am I whole? Where are areas that I'm not whole? Where are areas that I need to be healed from so that I can track that significant other that I am requiring for my life? I was talking to a gentleman the other day about relationships. And he says, it's for him to speak on looking for a significant other as well. He stated that, why can't we figure out because at this age, after you're over 40, you have established in your life, if you're single, you're paying for your bills, you have a home, you have all these things that you've already taken care of. And one of the things that he did speak about is you have two people who are living a lifestyle. He says, but if you think about it, a person that's single, two people, they're probably paying $33,000 a month, $3,000 to $7,000 a month for your household expenses and your clothes, everything that resolves in that person. When you come together in two people, you have $14,000 now together. He says, now if you really think about it, money should not be an issue. He said, but there is an issue with money because now you have bringing two people together who was single, taking care of themselves without a problem. Now money is an issue when you come together. He said, one of the things he said, he thought about it. He said, you know what? We can have three accounts. One expenses for the household, and we contributed to that bank account. He says another one is for vacationing. Another one is for housing expenses. He says, but the individual bank account for each person is for each person. He says, we could just be explosive in finances, increasing to be able to invest, to be able to start a business. He says, one of the things that I realized, and he's been married as well and divorced, he said, one of the things that I've learned from the divorce and from being married is that you have to have a plan. You have to have a mate that is agreeable to who you are. That's that expectations of yourself being a whole. So you can draw that person and realize that you can make a life with a person as long as they are whole, as long as they put things in perspective. He says the most difficult thing is when you come together, you're so caught up in your emotions and not realizing this is not an emotional state. This is a marriage, a business plan, a relationship that you're establishing. And it's amazing because when females are thinking about relationships versus men thinking about relationships, he was thinking, he says, I got to have a plan. As a man of the house, I have to have a plan. He said, it's okay to go on vacationing, but are we going into debt going on vacationing? And this is not to offend anyone, but I'm having this conversation with this male. And then I said, wow, he had so many different viewpoints far as a male perspective in a relationship that had me twiddling my thumb. I said, you're absolutely right. I love talking, having discussions about subjects that is something that everyone is involved in, one in a relationship. And I added to the conversation and stated that, there's so many women that says, I don't need a man. I don't need this. I don't desire a man, and I said, that is so impossible that you don't need one, because when we're needing help and we call someone to do our lawns and help move our furniture, they are men. So that perspective, when I hear women say, I don't need a man, just the other day, I needed a bracket drilled into my house, and I did not have enough strength from the ground to drill it, and I needed a guy with the strength to drill the screw into my home. And I said, this is like building up for this show for today, expectations. And he came over. It was my neighbor's nephew, and he came over, and I asked him, could he drill the bracket in? And I didn't have enough juice in my battery screwdriver to do it. And he said, ask my aunt to call me, and I would take care of it. And I was really appreciating him, because the guys in my neighborhood, they know sometimes when I look like I'm struggling, the kids across the street will come over and help me get the things out of my truck. And I think about the women talking about they don't need a man. I'm sorry. There are occasions when I do need one and need their strength to hold up and move things for me. And I understand where they're coming from. I don't need a man. I don't have to have requirements, but I do truly believe, you have to speak things properly so the universe won't curve that notion that you don't need a man. Maybe to say, I'm not interested in being married, but I would love to have a companionship that will induce my life into a perspective where is wholeness, that I'm not lacking in certain areas where I'm needing the assistance. And but the whole narrative of bringing in the right relationships in your life is having the expectations of yourself, so that when you're looking outward at somebody else, those expectations is a mirror image. And I don't want people to be single and they have this desperation of, oh my gosh, I just want someone in my life. You don't want someone in your life just to want someone in your life, because you may pull in someone that is not healthy. You want to get healthy first, and then it'll draw healthiness. One of the things that I work for this company, and this has nothing to do with the company itself, but one of the things I had the pleasure to experience, being around a area where they bring in board members from different corporations. And they were all forming this alliance, and they go into this boardroom and they discuss whatever business it is, and they close the door and they discuss it. But it was a relationship. And one of the things of the relationship is that they all was CEO of the company, and they came in, but they all had a wholeness in each of the board members as a relationship. There was not one person lacking anything from each other. That's the type of relationship that you should be looking at, having a form of wholeness, having a form of significance, and you bringing in your expertise in a relationship, and you're forming a relationship together, and you can grow going forward in a plan. Forming an alliance is basically wholeness, coming together, forming a plan, and executing it. There's no difference in any perspective in life. But we don't do that when we come together in relationship with men and women. And I wanted to just bring this to the show today and maybe assist in, let's look at this thing together differently so there won't be a high rate in divorce. I remember having a friend and they were married, and some of the things that I have witnessed as the pettiness that goes on in marriages. And I listen very much to people. I don't judge them. I just listen because I learn from other people's relationships to say, okay, why are you being petty with this? This doesn't even make any sense. Um, they have these significant things that it says, well, the man's supposed to do this and the woman's supposed to do that. She should clean. She should do this. Well, I didn't grow up in a household that it was divided. My father cleaned and cooked. My mother cleaned and cooked. There was not a difference in who should do what, okay? Or, we should cook for the children. Who should cook for the children? In my household, I grew up where both parents was doing everything, whatever it was needed. So when I see people having this conversation that the woman should cook and she should clean and I just don't understand it, because if you see something that needs cleaning, just do it. I mean, I don't know who have formed this perspective that one should do and the other should not do and all of this, when the grass needs cutting, cut the grass, and I understand what needs to be done and all of that, but it should not be a rule in a relationship. It should be equal. And there are some things that men just do anyway for a woman, such as the taking care and the maintenance on the car. And I understand that, but it should not be a neglect that the woman don't know how to take care of the maintenance of the car. There's a difference between uh, he taking care of the maintenance of the yard and the car, and she does have no clue about what to do, how to check the oil. These are the things that I just do not understand why we have to have these rules and regulations. We don't, because we spend so much time looking outward at the other person, and instead of having the perspective of saying, I may not do this task, but it's good to know this task. That's keeping that wholeness together, making sure that you're walking in wholeness. You may not do the task, but it's good to understand how to do the task. Never putting yourself in a position where you're clueless. Just the other night, I was talking to my brother, and I was informing him that I had a leak in my toilet, where you turn the water on and off at the toilet in the house. And I said, now I have to figure out how to repair that. And he was explaining to me what I needed to do. And it stopped. I stopped and asked him, I said, okay, so I'm telling you this. And he said that he had to take care of it uh, when he was married. And I asked him this question. I said, when you had to take care of that, what is your mindset when things was breaking in the house? And he opened my perspective. He said men love to do stuff like that. They love to repair. It's almost like you take these things apart and then you fix it. And, he gave me a whole nother different perspective. He says, I just love doing that. He gave me an understanding how the toilet works. If I needed to change a whole new toilet and put a better toilet for my family and all of that. He gave me a whole new different perspective on how a male thinks versus me. I'm seeing this leak and I'm like, oh my goodness, why is this leak is happening? What? But when he explained to me how to repair it, it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. Just take the part off. He said, make sure you turn the water off in the house. You got to find out where the water is. And once you do that, turn the water off, then take that part off, take it to the Home Depot and measure it up, and then come back and just screw it back on. Just simple as that. I did not know that. Now I know that. now it's fixed. And it wasn't difficult. This is the expectations and understanding as a whole person. But we put so many things on this person should do this and that person should do that. And when both persons should understand how to do it, not necessarily doing it, but how to do it. And by speaking to a male perspective and how their mind works and their eagerness works, that is the fun part about relationships. But I want you all to know that having the necessary expectations of your better half or the significant other should be equal to the expectations that you have for yourself. You guys, let's not give up on relationships because I'm telling you, two is better than one. And if you have a marriage and you're having a difficult time, sit down and start asking questions about how the person is thinking. Open up the narrative of communications because once you find out how they're thinking, it gives you an opportunity to say, you know what, this situation, the fruit of the difficulties may not be the root of the difficulties, if that makes any sense. And you can stay married because I'm telling you, the dating scene out here, it is really scarce. And if you got someone that's married and there's no infidelity in your marriage and there's a difficulties in coming together, it could be one of those sessions where you can just sit down and just ask each other's questions and answers and think about how the narrative works. It's almost like you get married and you forget to have communications because the worldview, the internet, the newspaper, the broadcast, we don't need to be listening to that if you're in a marriage and you're having difficulties. You just need to have a podcast with each other and find out how each person is thinking so you can get rid of the bad fruit in your relationship and save that marriage because 2024, 2025 going forward, relationship is not as it should be. Everything is expensive. It costs what, $500 or more to go on a date. Women are expecting men to take them on these expensive dates and they don't even have the same expectations as the other person. The narrative is terrible. And if you can find the right relationship, then that's great. But like I stated, the pool of relationships right now is scarce. People really don't know what they're looking for, but I can tell you, in order to find out what you're looking for, is tuning in and finding out your expectations that you have for yourself, that the law of attraction will start to pull in those people in your life so the dating scene won't be as difficult. And it's crazy. I know I hear a lot of people say that they can't be friends with a opposite sex. Now, I had a friend that he was male and we were friends for over 30 years. That never came across our mind. We just did everything together. We had fun. We went on trips. We did a lot of sporting things. We worked out together. And he had a girlfriend and we were just really great friends. That never came across because of the expectations that we both had as whole people. We had fun and we never crossed the line with that. Um, but it is possible to have friendship with opposite sex if you do not cross that line. And I don't know why you can't have friends if you are male and female. That is because that expectations again. When you respect yourself more often, you're going to draw in people who respect themselves and you go off and enjoy your life. But I don't want you to think that relationships they're not there, but they are. I live on the street with lot of single women who is very orderly. They have their life going on. And I truly believe there's a lot of single people out there who are just living their life and enjoying their life as a whole individual. But finding a significant other is not as difficult as we think. We put too much time in wasting on the things that we're looking for in another person. And instead of looking for the things that I want as me as a productive single woman so that I can draw that male counterpart into my life and that you can now have a significant other that is equal to your standards of living. Listen, you guys, I hope that I did not present this in a way that would show my ignorance in areas because, as I stated, I'm single as well. But like I stated, that I want to be completely whole in my life so that won't be a issue when I come together in a relationship with someone else, that we will have a plan and we can execute it and we can enjoy our life on this earth because life is supposed to be enjoyable. And you can't do that if you're not enjoying who you are and you're trying to have a fulfillment from someone else to fulfill those things that you have not tackled to be a whole individual. Okay? But that is what I wanted to talk about today. And I hope you all are blessed. I hope this show has blessed you. And listen, I am wishing you well to find your significant other uh, this year and the coming year or whenever you feel like that you are ready to be in a relationship, to be a whole individual with someone else. But listen, you guys, just keep the faith and make sure that you are what you are looking for outwardly. Okay? So this is the end of our show, and I hope you were blessed. And remember, the show is called Expectations. And let's do this thing because we all deserve to walk side by side with someone because two is better than one. Listen, you guys, stop by our website and take a look at some of the things that we are offering in our store. Of course, we have a new production that was released in February 2024. And I want you to stop by and grab that book. And we have another publication that's coming out in 2025. And if you want some updates on it, go to SonyaBuchanan.com. Click on the email portion, and so we can send you updates when we have new updates that's going on in my world. Also, if you know anyone who's going through sad moments, we do update our website, our community website called comfortingpromises.com. You can go there. We have information there. We have inspiration that will pull you out of that dark place because we do sometimes go through things that cause us to be sad. We don't want you to go into a sad to depression and then depression and having suicidal thoughts because suicidal thoughts is not the kingdom of light. It is the kingdom of darkness. And there's a reason why we have material on our Confident Promises website that will bring you back into a place of elevation. But listen, this is the end of our show. We thank you for having us. And this is your girl, Sonya Buchanan, with the Sonya Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time. Until next time.
Thank you for listening to our broadcast, The Sonya Buchanan Show, where we focus on one life, one smile at a time. Until next time, bye you guys.